Here's a really underhanded way that Donald Trump is attempting to effectively decapitate the sort of the career civil service branch of the federal bureaucracy. Last month, President Trump signed an executive order creating a new Schedule F within the accepted service for employees in confidential policy determining, policy making, and policy advocating positions, and instructing agencies to identify and transfer competitive service employees that meet that description into the new job classification, an initiative that could strip hundreds of thousands of federal workers of their civil service protections. Now, if you made it to the other side of that graphic, thank you for sticking with us, because it doesn't immediately seem important or comprehensible what is going on here. But it is important, because what you need to understand is that the American federal bureaucracy is not one thing. It is largely, and it really does depend on which exact agency you're talking about, it is a big, massive bulk. It's like the iceberg under the water of people who work their entire careers in different fields, whether it's something having to do with the economy or public health or something like that. They stay between presidencies. They stay between many presidencies sometimes, accruing experience and connections and all of that. Now, on top of that, the iceberg above the water are political appointments, which are, in the best of times, still supposed to have training and experience in these areas, but those are chosen as managers and executives by the president. And generally, most of them will not survive from one presidency to another, let alone much longer. Now, that depends on the presidency. Joe Biden is probably gonna choose quite a few Republicans, but that's the way it's supposed to work. That's the way it has worked. Trump is fundamentally changing that. More than creating a new bureaucratic classification, the move gives the president greater freedom to go after the so-called deep state career civil servants that he said hamstrung his term in office. He ordered government agencies in October to review their employees and report back with lists of Schedule F employees no later than January 19th, the eve of Inauguration Day, which is not going to be the lead into his second term as he planned when he did that. But the idea is he wants all these agencies to look deep into their staff and say, who of these could be changed over from protected, relatively difficult to fire, professional, experienced civil servants to just whoever we want, toadies, lackeys, whoever we feel like. And right now, the group that is made up of those political appointments is about 4,000 out of 2 million. It is a relatively very small amount. And he is hoping to massively change that. So let's jump ahead and get an idea of how big of a change this is gonna be. According to an internal memo, OMB Director Russ Vought has classified 88% of that agency's workforce as Scheduled F. So the Office of Management and Budget, which is very important and does work that is generally, has been agreed on historically, is nonpartisan. Doing evaluations of the cost of projects, doing sort of like projections of how long it would take for certain pieces of legislation to actually be put into effect. They're gonna go from having a few political appointments to the vast, vast majority being fully political, chosen by the president, can be fired at will by the president if he does, or if they do or say something that he doesn't like. This is not a piece of news that is sexy. It's not a piece of news that is immediately apparent why it's so important. But if this was how the federal government worked, it would be even less efficient, less capable of doing its job than it was over the past 4 years. And the scope, how broad they're going with this political appointment thing, is much wider than I even thought it was when they initially talked about changing these rules not long ago.
This is
JR, I apologize if it's boring.
Please, no, not at all, because this is the thing. This is one of those things that it's hard for most people to really follow, not because how complex it is, just because we don't think about how every element of government works down to even this point. So when they say deep state, even the people who complain about the deep state have no clue what they're saying the deep state is. The deep state is a bunch of professionals that are doing their job no matter which administration they're in. It's not connected to that. But this is an illustration of a large view of what Trump wanted for his administration. That's why he fired so many people that as soon as they said one thing that had some basis in fact, he had a problem with them. That's why he was fighting with Dr. Fauci throughout this whole thing, because Fauci was just trying to be what most of these guys are, which is just an expert in their field, giving you the information and recommendations the way you should do something, and then you carry that out because you're the official head that's there. Now, they don't like that. So you have to demonize the information. You demonize professors, you demonize the information, you demonize normal history. This is rewriting present the way we rewrite the history books. History books tell us a bunch of lies. and cover up things and sugarcoat things that were actually horrible that have happened. Now we need to go ahead and sugarcoat and politicize the present. So as we go forward, we can't rewrite history. Let's just rewrite life. So instead of people taking information or managers, as you point out, taking this information and doing with it what they need to help the American people, let's just not have any information. Let's just do what we want. And no more pushback. This is the elimination of thought, and it's the implementation of a government full of yes men. And you know who this benefits? The party that likes to implement yes men and just do things along their lines that have no basis in fact. Which party is that? Because if Biden has the same power, you know what he's not gonna do? Put in a bunch of yes men. In fact, he put in a bunch of people that disagree with him and that are Republicans that are apparently Trump supporters, as he pointed out to Lester Holt. This is what they know will be the response to it. They'll go, oh, well, I don't want to be that guy that puts in yes men, but they're not going to change anything back. They're just going to allow it to happen from one side and not happen for theirs.
Yeah, and it's a great point because it's not just about being able to fire these people at will. It's also the process wherein the vast majority of these employees are going to come from. Right now, it is an internal process where professionals do competitive searches for people to fill new positions. In the future, they'll be able to just choose people and put them in. That is not the way that it works right now. And you might say, well, but why would they want that? Why would they fill these bureaucracies with people that are chosen purely based on loyalty to the president? Don't these bureaus need to actually function? No, not really. No, like look, for all the issues that we have with the Democratic Party, including Joe Biden, and literally the next story is gonna be about how he chooses people and how frustrating it is. In theory, they want the government to function. And why does the government need to function? Because the people the government is supposed to help and protect need help and they need protection. The Republican Party is really only interested in people that are gonna be just fine no matter what. And if the government grinds to a massive halt, that's okay for them. They don't want the government being involved in most of this anyway. And so if they can fill it with a bunch of dunces, they're fine with that. It doesn't need to work for them. Now, there's a question on Twitch, can Biden reverse this? I believe that Biden can. For the most part, he can reverse the policy in theory, I guess. But if a bunch of people are fired over the next 2 months, if they clear out literally thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of employees, maybe he can get them back, maybe, but maybe it's done a massive amount of damage across the entirety of the federal government, the entire federal bureaucracy. That is possible. And I hope that Biden does reverse it. I don't want Biden choosing yes men either. We're to get to the sort of people that he chooses. It can be frustrating too for very different reasons. It doesn't have to be yes men really. It could just be like people who have no reason that they should be in that role.
So 2 small more things on this. So Trump, you said, was trying to implement this right before Inauguration Day, which shows you his plans for his second term was to have this government where he is the king. Nobody disrupts what he says. No one pounds his back. No one gives him information that is opposite of what his political aspirations are. That's what he wanted. That was in this next 4 years was supposed to be domination and then shutting people down. It's not really going to work out for him now. So now it's just a matter of, oh, let's keep implementing it potentially for the next madman that wants to come in and then who's probably smarter and is not as lazy as this guy is. And then as he takes these things like, well, I can take over. I mean, I can implement yes men. I can suppress real information, but I can do it without sounding like an idiot. So if nothing else, it didn't work out for him, but it's definitely gonna work out for the next guy if it continues on.
Yeah.
The next Trump.
So exactly, or worse, theoretically, one who isn't an idiot. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.